Yo, it's 1:30 in the morning. The morning after Ricky Saints signs his NXT contract, or I should say WWE contract with NXT, of course. And I just can't get over the fact that Ricky Starks, I'm sorry, Ricky Saints joined NXT. And there was a huge moment because Ricky Saints was so huge and so popular and so loved over there at AEW that it's mind blowing to me. Not just with Ricky, but with Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, Ethan Page, All Ego, and then you got Shawn Spears, and then you got Stephanie Vakir, and then you got a host of a whole bunch of AEW talent that's come over from AEW to the NXT brand, and then they work their ways up to the main roster unless you're a very big name like Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, those type of guys that don't need any of the additional training. See, this is the thing about the difference in AEW and WWE. With AEW, you get a whole lot of wasted content and just a whole bunch of like wrestling, right? And I get it. They do have a lot of good wrestling. They had Penta. That's another name that I forgot. See, there's so many names that have come over from AEW to WWE. But with AEW, what ends up happening is talent gets built up over there at AEW, and they've got, like I said, a whole bunch of talent over there, a whole bunch of talented wrestlers and actual wrestlers. But where AEW is struggling to make the profit and to keep the fans around and having fans engage with their product is AEW doesn't know how to build the suspense. They don't know how to build the entertainment part of wrestling. Of course, you're going to have wrestling, but if you look at it, wrestling by itself just isn't drawing crowds. Wrestling by itself is one thing, but if you add entertainment, drama, and suspense to it all, it's basically like you're getting a movie. What's that one called? The Broadway act. You're getting a whole bunch of acting and a whole bunch of wrestling all in one, and you're getting multiple characters over there at WWE. At AEW, when they try and act, it's just like the creative team over there does not have that direction. AEW has to have a good direction of how to build the entertainment part, because at the end of the day, fans want to be entertained. You could only have so many wrestling fans that are actually there for wrestling. And let's be quite frank, let's be quite honest. Wrestling by itself is not going to get the job done. What made WWE pop, what made WWE so entertaining back in the Attitude Era, which is the best era in all of wrestling, doesn't matter what type of fan you are, you can sit here and you can make up excuses as to why it wasn't that good, but at the end of the day, the reason why so many people, well, I shouldn't say the best, but I should say the most relatable, most exciting part of all of wrestling and it's in existence. The reason why so many people fell in love and are still in love with the Attitude Era is because Stone Cold and The Rock, those are the first two that popped to my mind. Stone Cold Steve Austin was an illusion. His character was basically what the average middle American or average human being would love to be and act like. Drink beer on the job, flip your supervisor off, talk however you wanted to talk at the work environment. Just everything that Stone Cold was in that ring or in that business in the Attitude Era was a clear resemblance to the average American, and that's why so many average Americans were tuned into the Attitude Era. That's why so many of them left as soon as Austin, Rock, and those guys ended up leaving the wrestling scene. And of course, you had wrestling. You had John Cena, who was all acting, some wrestling, some good wrestling, but the average American wasn't interested in the same old, same old. That's what's wrong with the AEW. AEW is the same old, same old. You're going to have your 5-star wrestling matches, as they've said. I really don't care about none of that, honestly, because it's washed down, it's watered down. 5-star matches are just given. They're not even earned anymore, I don't think. You've gotten some like 5-star matches are just a thing of the past. 5-star matches are just like, okay, what do I care for? All they're gonna do is they're just gonna do like gymnastic moves and all that. How am I getting engaged to any of this? When they start building up on a storyline, they don't deliver and they don't finish the story. Like, what happened to Nick Khan, or Tony Khan, I should say? Tony Khan, when he got Tombstone power driven by I don't even know who it was. It was somebody from the Young Bucks or something like that, when they had held the company hostage or something like that in that small arena. It was about the time when the NFL draft was happening, and the only reason I know that is because I remember on the NFL Network or ESPN, wherever it was at, Tony Khan came on and he had his neck brace. That's where he was selling the story. And I thought that they were actually going to go along with the story for longer than what they did. And they even had Tony Khan's dad come out to the ring that same night when he got tombstoned. It wasn't the best tombstone, but that's not the point here. The point is you got to deliver on the story. You got to be able to just like flat out deliver on the story, have a beginning point, the initiation. You got to go through the story. You got to let it ride out. And you just got to see where it goes in the end and then eventually finish that one off. But before it finishes off, have something else get started in the process. It's almost like what's going on with the WWE right now with Penta. He hasn't lost a match as he's been with the WWE since he started it. He's undefeated, and not comparing him to Bill Goldberg or anything like that. That's not it right there. But what WWE is doing is something beautiful. Like, it's entertaining because now you got this idea that this guy just can't lose. But at the same time, you're sitting there thinking, you're like, man, who's going to be the first one that beats and snaps Penta's streak? And I know it's scripted and all that, but that's the entertaining part. Like, you want to sit there and try and figure it all out, put A and B together and see where it all ends up. See, this is how the mind works of a human being. You want to be entertained, you want to be engaged, you want the wrestling to be there, but you also want the entertainment part of it. You want the build-up. That's something that AEW is slacking. And I know I said Stone Cold was what the typical average American is like, even to this day. You want to go to work, you want to drink beer, you want to do what you want to do, you want to go there and kick some butt, you want to beat your employees up, you want to do, just basically what Stone Cold was all about. He was all about what the average American was, the resemblance. Now, The Rock was who people want to be like when they grow up. They're like, man, that's the type of person that I want to be like. That's the type of career path that I want. I want to be able to work somewhere, and I'll eventually want to build my way out of that business and start making more money one way or another, doing what I actually want to do, a passionate path. Like, The Rock is a resemblance of what people want to do when they're successful, and that's what The Rock is. He's successful. That's why so many people want to do the path. That's why so many people are on the same projection. They want to be on the same path that The Rock was on with the WWE. Rocky Maivia when he first started, The Rock, and then the People's Champ, so on and so forth, Final Boss. But at this point, you could tell that he's mastered how to be an actor, and that's why everything that he does is just a thing of beauty, especially when it's in that square circle. WWE just knows how to give you all aspects when it comes down to the wrestling business. They know how to give you the wrestling. They know how to entertain you. They build the drama up, the rivalries up, and they just work together. It just clicks. It's a beautiful thing. That's why the ratings are where they are at. And wrestling isn't something that you can go to the bar and you're going to see at the bar like, hey, look, there's some wrestling on TV. You're not going to see that like the NFL or the NBA or anything like that. You don't see that. So those ratings come from the household. That says a lot right there. People are at home watching it week in and week out. And you can't go to the theaters and be like, I want to watch the movie WWE. You can't do that. It's not like that. That's why WWE is king. AEW, they deliver with the wrestling matches, the wrestling moves, but they fail at everything else. They do not deliver. They do not finish what they've started. That's why, when I first started this podcast episode, Ricky Saints, I can't, my mind is wired right now. It's almost 2:00 in the morning. I just can't get it out of my mind. All that talk about how, all that tough talk, all that trash talking that AEW was doing about WWE, always trashing on the WWE. Oh, any chance that they could get, they haven't done it in a while. Wonder why. But all the talent that was doing it's one way or another have all left AEW, and guess where they're at? Most of them in WWE.